Welcome to your reading. Let's go ahead and make sure the lighting is good. It is good. The mic is good. The recording is good. Okay, let's get to it. Let's get right to it. So, Danielle, and I've hidden your last name successfully in all areas. I have done so. Perfect. Okay. So let's go ahead and share screen. Why don't we? Let's actually maximize this. Share screen. Let's show that chart. Okay, let's go ahead and now let's not print. Let's not print. Let's show everything. Okay, so simply put, we got that Leo sun, second house, Venus there, Juno conjunct the sun, Cancer rising, Moon in Scorpio, conjunct Pluto, different signs, it's still a conjunction. And Mars in Scorpio, and you got Saturn kind of like in the same sign as the moon, but kind of 9 degrees away, and Pluto in a different sign, 2 degrees away. So that's interesting. I would love to hear other astrologers' take on that. That's kind of a very unique one. You get that Jupiter in, ooh, nice. Jupiter on the descendant in Capricorn. Okay, I see this 29-degree Neptune. It's all in my head. It's all swirling around. Aspects, you got Moon. Okay, we don't have that many bad, no difficult Moon aspects besides, difficult with conjunct Pluto and Saturn. Sun, we got square Saturn. Okay, there you go. We got some Uranus square with Mercury, Mars and Venus squaring, and Mars not really afflicted. Mercury afflicted by square by the node, skip a step. Uranus is conjunct one of the nodes. Which nodes is it? Is the south node? Okay. And what else? And then I think we have Chiron conjunct the north node, okay, in the 12th house in Gemini. Interesting. Okay, so what do I see? Straight off the bat, okay, so we got Leo and Scorpio. Fixed and fixed. Difficult. Let's be honest, right? Because when you have, I have this too. I have a moon square sun. Let me actually open up a little bit of light. It is 9 o'clock, so I want to see the sunset behind. But okay, so when our sun and our moon are square each other, right? It basically creates this, like, I came up with this brilliant, I'm gonna show my face really quick. So I came up with the metaphor a while ago. I take full credit. Basically, it's like there's like you're a ship, and it's like there's two captains who both want to go separate directions, different directions. Kind of screwed up with the lighting, but whatever. That's how I see moon square sun, right? So the rest of the chart will give clues as to like which energy wins, right? Like wins as in like likely dominates. But overall, people who have this, a lot of times it implies that the parents were very different. A lot of times they were, there was like a divorce or something like that. But overall, there's something about the parental, like the energy and the worldviews of the two parents that is very, very separate. So that's very important. So yeah, I always say in my readings, like when it's sun square moon, if you have to write down like in like, I don't know, if I give you a homework assignment, like I wrote about this in my book, Pisces Live 9 Lives, available on Amazon. I wrote a little bit about like the main message my dad gave me, like unconscious, like the main lesson, the main like how he imprinted me. And you really have to think about this stuff. Like it really kind of is like it's not conscious, it's very unconscious. And then the same with my mother, and I realized how they were so different, and that represented that square. So maybe you could do the same exercise, being that you have your Mercury in the 3rd house, so in Virgo. So you probably are someone who's not opposed to writing. I think I'm such a nervous Gemini right now, but it's just like I need AC. It's getting hot. So yeah, so with this chart, that's the first thing. Sun and Leo, I don't have time to go into sun signs. We know our fucking sun signs, okay? We know what Sun and Leo is, right? We know about the fact that Leo suns are gregarious, they're funny, they're entertaining, they are passionate, they're courageous, they're leaders, they're fixed, right? But the fact of it is, and I see this a lot with my clients, which is super interesting. Like, I don't really want to like waste my bandwidth on explaining Leo, because I feel like you know what Leo is, and like Leo sun. But this is a thing that's really, and I'll probably like circle back around it. Like, the fact that it's square Saturn, that is what's really, really important. I get a lot of Leo clients who have this square. And basically, one way I could explain this is that basically, so you're born 84. So it's probably around your Saturn return where you were able to really start to let that Leo energy out. Maybe it was like your dad or like some structure, right? Saturn rules like the patriarchy, right? Some more dominant kind of cold structure, whether it is a parent, both parents, a lot of times it's the father, that would have held you back. Could have been both parents, because it is conjunct the moon too. And essentially it holds back that Leo fire energy, which wants to just show itself. It wants to show itself to the world. It wants to be in line with what I call authentic self-expression, inner child, right? Where you're just flowing with life, where you're creating, where you feel like you're not held back by anything, where you can just kind of go with whatever comes to you. That's the Leo, high Leo, right? Being in touch with the inner child. You're vulnerable, you're sensitive, but Saturn square can hold a lot of that back and can make someone who's a little bit more reserved, who is a little bit more timid when it comes to really allowing themselves to express their life purpose. So that's probably your most difficult aspect, like just because you don't have any. I mean, actually, no, the it's not. I mean, it is tied with the moon conjunct Pluto, but moon aspects are always more difficult than sun ones, because it rules the emotions and the unconscious, and we can't really see it. But this one, is might be particularly difficult, and you may have really felt lots of restriction, to letting that full fire. And I know you didn't get a follow-up. I want to just say right now that if you decide, most I'd say 95% of my clients get follow-ups for obvious reasons, because like we want to talk about these things. So if you intuitively right now are like, yeah, I definitely want to talk to Jesse, I can definitely arrange something where I'll give you the follow-up for a similar price as you would have gotten it if you would have bought like both together. So just let me know about that. But yeah, so it's a very it's a very close, very tight aspect. It's 1.06. So it's just showing that this is a very important one. And self-expression is very important for you here. So that is that goes to your 5th house, which is my next point, with the moon in the 5th house, right? Sun in the 2nd house, which I'll get to in a little bit. Moon in Scorpio, that's a very intense placement. I said recently, kombucha action, that I was like, maybe you might have, no, you don't. One of the more difficult, like I think with fixed, like the square between sun and moon with fixed signs is the most difficult, because like, for example, with me with Pisces Sag, it's like it's mutable energy. Mutable energy goes with the flow, and it's willing to make changes and sacrifices, and kind of just like it's not as stubborn. So in a square aspect between sun and moon, there's an energy where like there has to be some compromise, right? And as you know, Scorpio and Leo are both stubborn as fuck. So it's like how can you live your life to where both of these parts, both of these sides, are, their needs are met? That's the question. And that's like why the follow-up, eventually I'll do live readings. I just can't do them. I can't. Maybe I'll never be able to. I can't schedule readings. I just can't predict. I can't be like, I'm not that person where I can just be like, I'm gonna be on at 8 p.m. and then at 9 p.m. and then at 10 p.m. and then at 11 p.m. It's just like it won't work. I'd have to reschedule 1,000 times and piss people off, and I'd rather just do it like this. Sadly, this is the life of Pisces. Yes, I blame my fucking zodiac sign. But so anyways, Scorpio moon, you know, it's conjunct Pluto, so you're really going to be in touch with your shadow. And this is interesting because the Leo, it's very light. It's very, of course, Saturn's going to kind of push some of that away, but it's very, you know, it wants to shine. It's ruled by the sun, right? Leo is ruled by the sun. So the Scorpio moon is very different energy. It's like completely opposite. It's like, it's ruled by Mars, and it's you know about Scorpio. I don't have to like go too deep into what Scorpio is either, but a Scorpio moon has an emotional need to be able to express themselves in all of their like darkest, shadowy ways, and not have to hold back at all. Now with Pluto, this becomes like pushed even further, and the conjunction, it makes someone who, you know, vulnerability can definitely be difficult because there can be such an intensity felt in the emotional unconscious nature of the individual that they feel like almost like they don't want to like people won't understand, like what they feel is so intense that they're afraid to be vulnerable because they sometimes think that like people will see it and judge them for it, right? There can also be like this cynicism, because they understand the Scorpio moon, it understands itself at such a deep level. It understands it's like not just itself, but it's seeing kind of how fucked up humanity and people can be. And it's very aware of that it can sometimes be very, very cynical when it approaches relationships, friendships, situationships, whatever the fuck. So Pluto there, you know, it's that, and I literally, like my last client had this too. It's just, I always have this all the time when it's just like back-to-back clients with the same stuff. But like, you know, I see a lot of this, honestly, this conjunction of a Scorpio moon conjunct Pluto, like the amount of clients I've had with this is ridiculous. And basically the reason I have so many clients that have this is because it's an evolutionary karmic impetus that's pushing you into your shadow, into the parts of yourself that you otherwise may have not really wanted to look at. And that's also why karmically you have a Scorpio moon, because in this lifetime, you're really trying to heal past life trauma and past life cycles. And you're trying to make things right, right? You're trying to kind of balance things out. And the Pluto will just throw you right in there. It will throw you right in there. It'll create situations. It'll create whatever it creates, especially when young. There can be drama. There can be intensity. And, you know, it's a 29-degree Leo, which in 29.29, so that's double 29, which is the, you know, the number of completion, so of karmic completion. So that's literally what I was just fucking talking about how this lifetime there's some level of karmic completions. We look further at the North Node conjunct Chiron in the 12th house in Gemini, and that gives us even another clue that you're striving. North Node is what we're striving towards. It's the mountain never climbed, the metaphoric mountain never climbed in past lives. You know, and it's in the 12th house, which is like, you know, about karma and about like kind of beating the karmic cycles. But more on that later. So I think, you know, when you have and I have this too, you know, I have a water sun, you have water moon, and I have a fire moon, you have a fire sun, square each other. It's like, and you know, and then you have your ascendant in water. It's like, how can they both win, right? How can the Leo needs be met, but also the Scorpio needs? And there's no simple answer, but I think if you can kind of like look at them, like it's almost like if like compartmentalizing, and looking at the Scorpio, being like, okay, what's the Scorpio side of me asking? Okay, it's asking me to do a lot of shadow work to really go inside, so that after that, that Leo side, which is going to really want to create in some type of way. It's going to really want to is Pluto? No, it's going to really want to have a massive effect, right? Like on your surroundings and just in the world in general. You're gonna want to really shine and make a difference in people's life and do something special. So Saturn might hold that back for a little bit. When Saturn, which it has, because if you pass your Saturn return, goes away, you're left with this real power, this real like the energy's cleared. And the question is, have you also done the work with the with the Scorpio moon? Scorpio moon is about death, rebirth, and transformation, the archetype. So think of like the whatever, like just the archetype of I'm forgetting English. Metamorphosis, right? And the snake shedding its skin, right? So that's kind of that energy on an emotional level. And the fact that's in the 5th house and the sun's in the 2nd house, that speaks to sun in the 2nd house. That makes someone who is interested. Is the lighting? I feel like it's getting worse. Yeah, it's way better. Okay, so that speaks to, okay, 2nd house sun. It's like, yeah, it's about money. Yeah, you have Venus there, which is also very favorable for finances. To me, it's about groundedness, and that's how I see it. And it's about like, how can I find a set of values and morals that I subscribe to, that I live my life based off of, so I don't have to like, do you have any Libra in your chart? No. And really having that solidity, right? It's Taurus energy. So that's massive. And you're really wanting that groundedness, because when you have a Scorpio moon, you can be very up and down with your emotions. You can be very moody, which can create difficulty in relationships, especially if you don't know about your astrology, right? The classic Scorpio moon that doesn't know they have a Scorpio moon. It's like, goddamn. So a creative outlet would be very important for you, because you have so many planets in the 5th house. However, Saturn's presence there, and I know this very well, can almost create this door that comes up, this like big garage door, like barrier, whenever you start to try to be creative. And around your Saturn return, it's like really the karma is really asking you to take a creative risk on yourself. So I'm curious, like if we do a follow-up, I would be very curious on that side of your life, because you have your Mars there too, conjunct Vertex in Scorpio. So I would be very curious about that, about whether you have undertaken anything creative, which doesn't have to be like creating a song that's going to get 6,100 million views on Spotify or anything like that. It can simply be something along that like writing some poems, journaling, and it's in Scorpio, so there's gonna be some darkness to it. So maybe finding an outlet to get your darkness out. It could be writing about it. Could be drawing, whatever whatever skills you have or whatever you like doing. It's not just about like how good it is, right? That's a trap that most people get in, is that they think, I'm not good at singing, I shouldn't sing, or I'm not a good writer, I shouldn't write. But it's not about that. The whole point with Leo, authentic self-expression, it's like art therapy, where by creating the art, even if it fucking sucks, no one has to see it, and you're understanding yourself better through it, right? But yeah, 5th house moon, people tend to have like I have a 5th house moon, so it's like, yeah, it's like a real emotional need for creativity and for fun. It's the house of Leo, so it's like more Leo energy, right? So your chart is asking you for that high Leo. Low Leo is like, I do it for the views. I hog the spotlight. So it's really about like just accepting that you in this lifetime, are here to express yourself in some type of way, or maybe various types of ways, and shine. Also, fifth house has to do with children, so there can be some real link to that. But like I said, with Saturn there, it typically makes it so someone, until the Saturn return, feels like a real inhibition when it comes to creativity. But then things kind of loosen up, and if they haven't like acquired like a lot of shame around like not being able to create, and they still allow themselves to try, they can do great things around that time. So ascendant in Cancer, here we have Cancer rising. I think it's a nice rising sign because it makes the moon in Scorpio the ruling planet, which makes the emotional power even more. You definitely need to like look at the lunar cycles. They're going to affect you a lot. Cancer risings, they have this very tenderness to them. Family is extremely important. They treat people around them in a very family-like manner, which is very nice. And when you look at them, like I just thought of Kanye for some reason, Kanye West, and then like, he has that, and you just like get this, like regardless of like what is in the chart, it just makes them kind of feel relatable and feel like you can kind of like kind of warmth. There's a kind of warmth to them. But yeah, so besides that, usually Cancer risings can be a bit shy, which, like as a Leo square Saturn, I'm curious how that kind of comes together. But yeah, they really, really care for others. That's like a huge thing for them. And there's like a real mother nurturing instinct. Very hospitable, and lots of strong feelings. Very, very compassionate, and being like a Scorpio moon, it's gonna make it so there's a real smooth link between how you appear, like how you look, which is your ascendant, your personality, and your emotional nature, which is actually really way better, because people who have a Scorpio moon and then like their ascendants in like Leo, or like some like Aquarius or whatever, like some way different energy, people are gonna be very confused when they find out about that inner intensity. But when you're Cancer rising, it's not such a different energy than Scorpio. They're both water signs, so it's almost like you wear your emotions on your sleeve. So yeah, really, really caring for other people, and yeah, it's like that. Like you tend to really want others to experience this like emotional satisfaction when they're with you. People will come to you when in times of stress, all that stuff. I want to open up one document really quickly. Okay, where are we at? I wonder if people like who watch this, if anyone watches this, like thinks that like I'm like secretly like getting drunk. I fucking hate alcohol, even though I still drank this past weekend for the second time this year. It's just like, ugh. Ugh. But no judgment. I do, when I drink, I love drinking, but after, no thanks for months. Okay, so I'm just trying to see, what fixed stars, you have. You have Alhina conjunct your ascendant, so that can give a love of poetry, painting, and teaching. Very quick-minded, so that's good. So yeah, moving on. And then 11 and 1. Let's see if there's anything here. Nope. And then anything here? Nope. So just thank God that you don't have like what is it, 19 or 20 degree? Or is it 21 or 19? I forget which one. Scorpio moon. I think it's 21 degrees. Because that's like the serpentist. That's like the really, really difficult one. If you have like a 21 degree Scorpio moon. So just be happy. And then, you know, with the conjunction, the loose conjunction of Saturn and the moon, I mean, the fact that it squares the sun and conjuncts the moon, that just shows that Saturn return for you was fucking incredible. I mean, that you probably felt this release, maybe like it was some parental stuff, maybe like you probably felt like physically lighter. And on the emotional level also. And probably like, you know, we're able to really like, you probably like, and there's probably a ton of healing that took place on the solar and lunar level. And yeah, that's just kind of what it is when you have Saturn connected to your moon and your sun. And the Saturn return, it's like the weight's lifted off the shoulder and you just feel so different. And then suddenly you have all of this like power and willpower that you've accumulated. It's still there. Maybe I need to turn a light on, a stronger light. One sec. Okay. So, all right, moving on. But you do have, wow. So interestingly, you do have your Mars conjunct Serpentis, which is aka Unu Kalahi. Let's see if I can get any information on that. That can be a difficult one. Yeah, so I'm just going to read you what it says. Violence, quarrels, lying, crime, violent death, probably by poison. I don't pay attention to those ones. It says this is similar to the Mars at the south scale. It's a drawing process, blah, blah, blah. It says mint teas and a teaspoon of olive oil 3 times per week would be very helpful here. Danaes find it difficult to relieve their bowels, which will cause hemorrhoid problems. External use of Vaseline would also be quite helpful. Okay. But yeah, basically like the way I look at that is like your Mars and Scorpio, you got to watch out for like violent, just like kind of like the lower side of Scorpio, I guess you could say. Okay, let's hide these. No. Okay. But yeah, so yeah, Mars and Scorpio, it's a very strong placement. Like I said, you have that fixed star conjunct it. So you gotta watch out for kind of like seeking revenge and when someone wrongs you. I'm not saying you're a violent person, just more so that, you know, when it's Mars, it's like it has to do with your actions. So you can, they're more apparent. Like that's why I said the moon it's more difficult to have the moon there, because when the moon's there, it's like you can't really see it clearly, and then you can just erupt, and then you're like fuck. With Mars, it's like you can totally like transmute it, and you can totally take that energy, and it can become a very spiritual energy, right? Where, but it once again speaks to the need for that outlet, for that positive, creative, or even like physical outlet. And Scorpio, you know, a very psychological, deep sign. It could, you know, have to do with really getting into the esoteric. But you know, you have an unaspected Mars, so you know there's not any other parts of your Mars placement, right, that are holding you back, I guess you could say. But you know, unaspected Mars is kind of like a wild horse, and Mars and Scorpio is a indignity placement for Mars, meaning that Mars works best or most favorably in Aries and Scorpio. So Mars and Scorpio people, they have this built-in, like, they're like spiritual warriors. They have this built-in lie detector, and you know, the fact that it's in the 5th house gives you this real strong drive to express yourself creatively. Makes you competitive. You might have a strong drive towards having children. And you know, Mars and Scorpio can be very, very sexual also. They're not, so this is what I'm saying, like, you're not the opponent. Like, you're not the opponent for someone. Like, you're not the person to fuck with, even though you got that sweet, you know, Cancer rising. That Mars is intense, so it's best channeled into like I don't know, Kundalini yoga, or because it is Serpentis, which is, you know, the Kundalini serpent. And finding ways to really like balance the energy is really, really important. Mars and Scorpio also, it's just really, really good for like having like this deep psychological knowledge of people, of yourself and people around you. It really wants you to kind of go deep within yourself. It gives you this real drive to do this Scorpio thing, which your moon's there too. So it makes you a very Scorpionic 8th house person. If you saw my post yesterday or the day before, yeah. So like, that's a huge part of you. So that's like a big side, is that Plutonian / Scorpio / 8th house side. In the conjunction of the vertex is kind of saying that like the relationships will take an energy that's kind of intense also, and you'll appear to be very intense within the relationships. Like there might be drama and very like transformational relationships that also in the 5th house, you know, which is Leo, right? So it's like this real mix of Leo and Scorpio in relationships also, which is interesting because your Venus is in Leo. So it's like when you combine those two archetypes within relationships, it's like, on one hand, there's this real need for depth, passion, intimacy, two souls combining, like with no lies, no nothing, just pure like blah. Not blah in a bad way. That's just because I'm a Venus and Mars and Aquarius, and I'm like the opposite. But like, you know, just like very like soulmate energy. But then the Venus and the Leo part is way more about like, it's less serious. It's more like, let's have fun. Let's be lighthearted. So like, that's kind of how I would see like your ideal relationship playing out, would be like kind of, you know, taking great pride in your partner, and yeah, just overall really, really wanting to kind of have this. I just got a battery low, please charge now. That's not good. Yeah, really wanting to have like this should I pause this and put a different headset in? I don't know. I think I might have to. Discharged. Yeah, but basically what I was saying, like Venus and Leo, you know, you're also gonna like enjoy fun and creativity within relationships. A lot of times they value appearances, and you know, Venus and Leo also likes luxury, just likes luxury, you know. And Venus in the 2nd house, it also likes money. It's comfortable with money, and very, very very good at seeing the beauty in things, and usually like enjoying nice possessions and stuff like that. The fact that Juno is so close by to your sun is very interesting. And I think it would give you like kind of a nurturing energy as a Leo, which totally goes with your Cancer rising, while at the same time, from the perspective of like romance and like partners and stuff, I think that it would make one, yeah, it kind of doubles down on you know, the fact that you know, Juno is like what we look for in like a marriage mate. So Venus is kind of like more of like a dating energy. Let's say our love language. So like the love language of Leo can be like a little bit dramatic, a little bit of like needing attention, displays of emotion. I always like think of like the Venus and Leo person is the person that does like their proposal like at the NBA game, like on the Megatron, like a big deal kind of thing, right? But really, really wanting to have a partnership, like kind of like where you guys are proud of each other and you guys are like really having fun together, adventures, fire sign. And then with Juno there, it's like Juno in the second house, it's like you're gonna definitely value material security in relationships. Like shared finances and possessions are important. Also, issues of like fairness can arise around shared resources. So that's one thing. But in Leo, it's just like really wanting to be proud of your partner, which sounds kind of like Capricorn, but it's not the same thing because it's like it's less about like place in society and just more about just like them wanting your partner. It's like you as yourself, you're really wanting to get to your full creative potential where you're like able to kind of like get past that Saturn energy, and you're gonna want the same thing in a partner. Interesting, huh? So you might attract someone or that is kind of not going through that same struggle, but who's overcome it, or who exhibits that Leo energy, that high Leo energy. Inner child, and that you're really wanting them to take pride in you. And it all goes back to that fun, that romance, that creativity, all of that. So I'm a little bit nervous. I think I should pause this really quickly and switch headphones. Hold on. All right, I'm back. AirPods, I don't like the audio as much, but it works. You can understand me. It's not in choppy sound. I just tested it, so we're good. Yeah, that's kind of what's going on there. Venus square Mars. So once again, this is speaking. Not only is your sun and your moon, which are like the first feminine, like yin yang part of the chart, square each other, but also your Venus and your Mars, and they're both. So it's just more of the same. Like for you, I would really study the square between Leo and Scorpio and look at tons of different articles, YouTube videos, whatever it is, to understand what is it between these two signs that is so fucking different, and how does it apply to your life? Because astrology, it's I give you this, but you also have to really reflect on it, right? So that square can kind of create like it's similar. It's like it can create a real difference in terms of the needs of like the love needs, right? Like it literally just speaks to like that exactly what I was saying before about that part of you that wants like the fun lightheartedness and then like the real kind of like deep intensity. I mean, there's only like really more you can truly add to that in the context of your chart. But it can really bring lots of really intense love-hate feelings in relationships. And it can lead to like anger and temper tantrums, right? But like it can like kind of like the intensity can like really like subside just as quickly as it builds. So yeah, the overall lesson is just gaining more self-control over the volatile passions, which I think is a huge part of like the overall energy of Leo and Scorpio. Sometimes like with being the Leo Scorpio type, you're going to have to give yourself space. You're going to have to give yourself, time away from life. I know a guy who has this and the exact same thing. And he definitely, I don't know him so well, but from what I understand of him, he definitely goes through periods where he just needs to isolate, and he just needs to because the Leo part is out there, but then he'll get in these modes that can last weeks, where he's like really has trouble doing his work, So a big thing is like listening to that sacred voice. Okay, moving on.
So, okay. Sun's also trining Uranus. That's going to make one a freedom-loving, kind of like someone who beats to the beat of their own drum. I feel like most of my clients have like something going on with Uranus, some square or some trine, sextile, and yeah, it just kind of makes you. It adds a level of who you are, and makes a real individualism, a real kind of desire to like break tradition and be different. So aside from that, Venus is trine Neptune. That's a wonderful placement for creativity, for mixing the sensitivity of Neptune, like that otherworldliness in terms of like imagination and inspiration. I think of like that as like one of the best placements for an artist, because you have like the Venus, which is like the pen to the pad type energy, right? Like the actual like artistic part, and then Neptune is like the imagination part. So when they're connected to a trine, which is a smooth aspect, right? It can really bring good results. And yeah, you can really devote yourself towards like any kind of art form, also like a spiritual practice or belief, or any kind of like utopian cause. But like it's something where you can express your ideals and imagination, and like your values are linked to that. In terms of relationships, I think that it would have an effect where, it affects, like I said, the creative expression, in that kind of way, like where like peace and serenity are your ideals. So like it kind of like adds some sweetness to what I was talking about before. And yeah, so it definitely can help out some of that more rough Scorpio energy. And yeah, just super creative. I think like Ariana Grande, doesn't she have this? She has this, I'm pretty sure. There's like lots of singers and stuff that have this aspect. And it's just very obvious. So very cool. And yeah, in love, it's like it's likely that you could idealize lovers, like over idealize lovers. That's just like how Venus and Neptune are. So there is like definitely a chance for some disappointment if they don't, like there can be very high ideals. So yeah, that's kind of all go with all I'll say about that one. So okay, Mercury, square with Uranus and Chiron and the nodes. So this is a big one. Mercury is in Virgo, so it's it's on the IC, so it's highly linked to your karma, because it's square the nodes. And basically, Mercury and Virgo people, they are very good at analyzing situations. They're very observant. They're very smart, in a sense that they can get good grades. They're very capable of multitasking and getting the job done when it comes to like just about whatever like whatever a potential job might ask them for, right? They have a mind that can just get through stuff, that can be very multifaceted and very discriminating, but they can also be very critical and analytical. So when I see the square up and nodes, I think that maybe this is a thing, because they can be so obsessed with detailed knowledge that it can actually get in the way of them seeing the big picture, which with your South Node in Sag, that would indicate that there is this ability to see the big picture. However, it's in the sixth house of Virgo. Yeah, it's really good for any kind of research, really good for like precise communication, anything like that. And just in the third house, it just makes one excel in all forms of communication. Very quick learner, talkative, all that stuff. The fact that squaring, your nodes in Chiron the 12th, I mean, and then also squaring, what did I say? It was Uranus, right? Yeah, like so it's squaring the nodal axis and the planets conjuncting it. So it creates that T square, this karmic T square, where Mercury square Uranus to me is an energy of a super quick mind, where maybe it's like too quick, right? And too genius. And it can really set you apart from other people and make it somewhat difficult to connect with others. It can give a brilliant mind, but sometimes like an eccentric manner of how you let like provocative ideas out that can, you know, lead to like difficulties in relationships, right? So some people with this, they can think so fast. It can be like kind of ADHD energy, like where they can like have trouble listening, which is, you know, Leos can do that too. Being easily distracted, lack of concentration, and sometimes it can lead one to saying like the wrong thing in response to others. And yeah, it's like a prankster energy. I don't know. So people can get like easily like, it's just like anything with Uranus. It's just like it's not bad. It's just like you know, the more traditional kind of boring people can be offended, I guess you could say. But also another tendency is like a tendency to challenge other people's ideas, and some people can kind of like get offended by that. Some people might think that you're doing it just for attention, or for stock value, or just being argumentative. But really, like you enjoy seeing things from all the different sides. Yeah, it's really like good, gifted, intelligent, creative energy of, you know, really great for the mind in those ways. And it's all about like self-control and kind of like you know, kind of feeling out situations, I guess you could say. Some people with this, they can change friends often. There can be like difficulty maintaining long-term companionships also. And yeah, just like also it can create like a nervous kind of anxious energy of the mind, of like this overthinking, overanalyzing, that kind of stuff, right? But a lot of times it's like there's comedians that have this type of energy, because it can create like a very quirky sense of humor, like dark humor, like very unorthodox, like offended, like not really offended by much, which that's how I am too. Like nothing really offends me, which no limits to comedy is what I say. There's some limits. No racism, please. No hate. Also, it's really great for any occult subjects. Also good for like astrology, for math, science, numerology, all this stuff. So even the computers and the internet can provide like a healthy income. Like the internet's a great way for people with this to like make friends, like social media and stuff. So yeah. And remember, I just made a video today that talks about how these squares and oppositions, these difficult aspects, are actually superpowers. They're opportunities to become superpowers. Now, the fact that you have this, you know, square Chiron, that would make me think that at some young age, this very, what I just described, different way of kind of communicating, maybe people were jealous of you. And maybe because of that jealousy, they kind of like made you feel like you were stupid, or made you feel like you know, your way of thinking was the wrong way. And you may have internalized that. That's kind of what that is. And then that led to you having issues speaking up. And it's Chiron in Gemini, right? It's like issues, it's like throat chakra. So many of my clients, I use the word, and so many of my readings, I end up like using the word, like 1 second. Like my Uranus energy, I just need to see the sunset for 1 second. But yeah, basically I always like talk about like healing the throat chakra in the authentic self-expression. It goes totally back to the Leo. So very interesting. Moving on, we covered a lot. I'm trying to have my readings be like around an hour, like no more 2 hour readings. Like it's just impossible. I'm never gonna finish them. So yeah, so the fact that you have that there, that speaks to this potential energy. Pluto fourth house, that's a lot of times trauma. It is really, really far from the IC. So I don't know. It could also, like in a plastic chart, this would be a fifth house Pluto, 29 degrees. So it's kind of like a fourth house view of it would be like, a traumatic childhood that really, really shifted, or like just, it really, really like affected you. But it's so far from the IC that it is kind of tricky. And if you think of it in the fifth house, they never really do this, but I just have this feeling like if it's in the fifth house, it kind of goes more along with your chart and speaks to this this lifetime being this massive creative this real need to really, really create in this lifetime for you, and how in past lifetimes that has been sidelined, and in this lifetime it's like time to really, really once again take a creative risk, right? Like a sense of destiny, creative purpose, destiny to express myself and find myself through that, a need to advance some key part of their creative nature. Lifetimes where this development was sidelined, there's a deep drive to follow creative urges and desires. Yeah. So literally exactly what I just said. So yeah, and then Uranus conjunct the South Node. That's just kind of saying that South Node is 6th house with North Node in the 12th house. To me, that's basically saying that you're trying to, in this lifetime, move towards higher spirituality and higher trust in the oneness of all that is. A quest to see yourself as a part of a greater whole, as opposed to just like a separate entity. And so kind of moving away from this logical mind and more towards a more spiritual mind, where you use intuition, not use logic, but that's just the thing with the square and the nodes of Mercury. And basically all I explained to you earlier about Mercury is very karmic and based on past life karma. And yeah, transforming yourself, kind of what you're doing on a daily routine level into something that helps your spirituality. Now the South Node, Sagittarius, North Node, and Gemini part, that is about learning to, I guess, see life from other people's point of view. And it's also, once again, it's about this life is a huge challenge is learning communication, like mastering. So I would read the book, what's called the Marshall Nonviolent Communication. That's a huge thing for you. So it's spirituality, high spirituality, and your North Node conjunct Chiron. So it's you could be someone who is it's really, really, it's very, very based on past lives where communicating has been an issue. And with the Leo Scorpio energy, we can kind of get some clues to why. So there can be this tendency to be a little bit restless and scattered, and there's a big need to develop focus and learning different ways to communicate that are more helpful to you and others. So aside from that, we have Neptune, and then Uranus in the 6th house. I also have this. It can create quite interesting patterns, in terms of your routine, kind of how you live your life. You might be someone that goes to bed really late, or something like that, or has like bizarre daily life schedule that is completely different from the norm. But the fact that it's conjunct the south node, it means that you're bringing in some of this energy, some of this like what we could call like unconventional energy into this lifetime. And the fact that Chiron's on the north node would suggest that you've been, it kind of goes with what I was saying earlier, that you've been through various lifetimes, recent lifetimes, been really working on healing and on healing, on the wounded healer is what Chiron is. That's like when I see north node conjunct Chiron or conjunct any planet, it's like the archetype of that planet is one that they've been working on for a while, and they're trying to really get it right. So yeah, you're in conjunct with south node, it's like you're bringing in that energy. So they're similar but different. You're bringing in that energy, and it's another, like Uranus energy, like Aquarius energy, is an energy that feels it's not hard for you to be like anti-traditional, like beat to beat of your own drum. Let's just say it like that, right? So then Neptune is also there. It's very close to that cusp. It's at 29 degrees. So once again, another 29-degree planet, signifying like a karmic completion in relation to like spirituality and you're really 12th house north node trying to get to a whole new level in your lifetime to lifetime spiritual journey. Now with it here, what it's telling me is also like that you probably are someone with your midheaven in Pisces, right? So that rules your midheaven. You probably want your work or your dharma, what you do on like a career, like big picture level, to reflect, the high energy of Pisces, compassion, oneness, like where you're learning about everything I was just talking about for your north node, right? Getting out of like the material world and getting more into the spiritual world through what you're doing for your living. So it doesn't mean that your job, like, because with your chart, it doesn't mean that like your job has to completely reflect that, but at some level, there is a spiritual yearning in this lifetime to learn more and more and more, and to try on tons of different ways of being and meet people from different worldviews and different ways of seeing things, and using that discriminating mind, but not overusing it to a point to where you're getting stuck in these cycles, right? The meditation is something that can be massive for you, and like something like Kundalini yoga, something of that sort. I don't know. You'd have your own answer. And if you do decide to have the follow up, shoot me a message, and we can. You'd have to remind me of this to have that conversation. Moving on, Jupiter, very, very beautiful placement. Come here, Ezra. Here's a little Cancer. Cancer rising. So that actually gives a lot of luck in relationships. So, okay, Jupiter in Capricorn itself, that's like boss energy. That's like energy of someone who can really make things happen, especially like on a career level, like building the structures in their life. Like they really like seek professional status. Like Jupiter kind of makes everything bigger. So when it's in Capricorn, Capricorn is all about success and about follow through. It's very traditional also. But yeah, I think it'll make you very, very responsible and very, very able to accomplish whatever you put your mind to over the long term. Now, the fact that it's in the 7th house, conjunct with ascendant, it means a few things. It means that there's lots of luck, karmic luck, when it comes to you meeting the right partners, romantic partners or business partners. Or if you're like doing something like I do, like clients. But yeah, the fact that it's in Capricorn, that adds some more energy to this whole love stuff. And basically, it's not far, yeah. And basically, it's just saying that you're also really it does kind of go with a Leo in a weird way, where you are interested in someone who is doing something with their life, not someone you can really be proud of on that career level, on that level of like they're not just sitting around and complaining. Like you want someone who is serious about the profession, who also values what they're doing, and who you can really rely on and depend on, kind of like that rock. So yeah, Chiron, I talked about that a good amount. 12th house Chiron can create someone who suffers from deeply buried wounds. And yeah, it's just like about like going deep into the psyche, and it can create like a spiritual healer, and it's conjuncting North Node, so it could be in destiny. And I already talked about Chiron and Gemini, about like how you have to like trust your own thought processes, that the fear of communicating with others, the healing of the throat chakra. So Black Moon Lilith, it's an Aquarius. To me, I think of Black Moon Lilith is like, it's not a planet, it's just like it's more so what we it's like our worst energy, like when we let ourselves go in a bad way, it's like what can kind of come up. So Aquarius, what's the stat of Aquarius? Well, they can be quite aloof, and also the fact that you don't have any air in your chart in terms of inner planets can also create this inability to really see the big picture, and have perspective, of like the big, like kind of the zoomed out perspective of your own life, and the Virgo, Mercury with all the squares can make it so you can be a little bit potentially narrow-minded. So I would say with that, you kind of got to watch out for that process, and doing things like breath work when you don't have air can be very, very powerful. Getting out into the actual air, like skydiving or climbing a mountain, things like that, right? But Black Moon in Aquarius, it's like it can create issues with friendships. You may feel that your friends fail to live up to your expectations, you can't count on them, or that they don't listen, and there's not like a fair exchange of taking and giving. So typically someone who has this likes to be part of a like-minded kind of group, but they can often feel like rejected, because in the sense that they feel that they feel like they're being rejected, but a lot of times it's not actually what's happening. Like a lot of times they can be very, very fixed in their ideas. It's kind of like stubborn energy, right? Where they're like imposing their thoughts and feelings on others, and not really and kind of expecting those others to agree with them. And any kind of disagreement can be viewed as a lack of support, right? So it's all about like having this ability to accept the differences and live with them, and be able to be with people who see the world differently. So yes, it's about being like flexible in your attitude. Aside from that, I'm gonna pull up this article that I have. Where is it? I always scratch my eyes. So yeah, in Aquarius, so fear, there can also be like a fear of powerlessness, which can lead to isolation. Also criticism for not being strong enough and hiding one's weaknesses from the world. And there can be a projection that takes the form of having a strong judgment on people that you might deem as being weak. And ironically, this placement grants a great power that can be used to build people up or crush them. The person can either fear their powerlessness or the opposite, fear their own power. And integration comes from facing yourself and asking yourself of your use or refuse to use your own power. And it's all about practicing self-empower reinforcement and stopping yourself from neglecting yourself, and just to build people up at every chance you get. So I like that one. Fear of powerlessness. Okay. Stop, Esmond, stop. Also, like in the eighth house, it can make it so like secrets or things that you like are more intimate can like have a tendency to kind of get revealed that you would rather like not want to get revealed. So you have to really like watch out for like I don't know, anything that has to do with like sexuality, lust, greed, stuff of that matter. You can maybe like attract like the darker elements of life. So yeah, gotta watch out for it goes completely back to the Scorpio stuff about like facing your own darkness. Once you do that, and all about learning self-love as well, the energy gets easier. Okay, just about wrapping up. So I want to see 14 Pisces. Where did that list go? Okay. So Archimar, midheaven. Let's see, there's everything. So you have Archimar in your midheaven, and what it says for that, it says honor, glory, preferment, success, and trade in the spirit. Einstein had this. I don't know much about this star. It gives success in public office, beneficence in religion. Of the same influence as Jupiter is symbolized as a cherub and sword. Okay, so it's a nice star in your midheaven. We talked about the one there. And what about 9 Capricorn? Nope. And after that, 24 Leo right before. So okay, so 25 Leo is super dangerous. So you're lucky that it's 24 to start. Wait, what the heck? No, I did that wrong. It's Virgo. Virgo is 8. Okay, so it's 11, 4. No, nothing. Okay. And then, all right, so we did all that. So yeah, basically, midheaven in Pisces, I kind of talked about how like that's like in the 9th house. So midheaven in the 9th house, you know, midheaven is like kind of your career, how you're seen on like things like social media, like by the public. So you know, midheaven in the 9th house means that like you know your big picture life could be connected to foreign lands in some type of way. You know, it can be very philosophical, like what you do for work or what you're really trying to do in this lifetime, based on finding meaning, in this case spiritual meaning. And in Pisces, it's like about like really wanting to serve humanity through your career. And there can also be changes of profession, like sacrificing yourself within your profession in some way. And there can also be like lots of midheaven Pisces people, you know, in Neptune's, you know, whereas the 6th house, like really wanting to implement compassion in your career. So yeah, and I keep seeing, I'm curious if you're an artist, but whatever. All right. Aside from that, I'll leave you with a part of fortune. 14. Hold on. And I need to get some eye drops in before my next reading. Okay. So 19 Aries. Okay. So yeah, basically part of fortune is kind of like your smooth spot, like where things just sort of work out, I guess you could say. And yeah, it's like kind of where you like where you find your flow. It's like the basic way where you are really physically connected to your surrounding world, right? Also, it's like a significator of like the body and health, and it's very big on prosperity and career, right? So it's very, very important in astrology. It's the most important Arabic point in that type of astrology, and basically to have it in Aries in the 10th, at some level, being your own boss and like striving for independence within your own career / dharma, right, is going to be extremely important for you. And having independence, having a level of just not having because with your 6th house, you're not going to really want to like have a boss. It's not going to feel very good, especially with Uranus. You're going to be more like me, where you're like, fuck a boss, like I want to do things my own way. But yeah, doors will really open for you when you're expressing your authentic self, right? Which is what we talk about so much. And when you're allowed to kind of be spontaneous and pioneering. So it's very entrepreneurial, very initiatory. And yeah, all about new beginnings, new ventures. Just like you love when you have that like that first hit of like, oh, I want to do this, and then you just trust your instincts and follow through and make decisions, and just sometimes maybe moving a little bit quicker. And it's ruled by Mars, so Mars and Scorpio, could be like something related to the 5th house, Mars and Scorpio we talked about, which is it can be volcanic, but can also be very, very strong, very, very spiritual. Something like psychology comes to mind. So yeah. All right, that's about it. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you're interested in a follow-up. I highly suggest it. If you are, or like either way, it doesn't matter. It just kind of helps cement the information. A birth chart is a very sacred thing, or sacred event. Unless you have like a strong knowledge of your chart already, I'm sure you probably have many questions, but either way, it's been a pleasure. You know where to find me, and I'll talk to you later. Ciao. Ciao, ciao.